Hello, art friends. My name is Fleshwad, and today I will be reading 3 stories from r/nosleep, a little something to help you get through this quarantine. Remember to watch this video in the dark with the lights off and your headphones on for the best viewing experience. Now let's get into quarantine and chill. I am a scientist at a secret research facility. What we made will end the world. Posted by Yudis. So what happened this weekend? I'll tell ya. So I work at this secret facility and we work on cats. Not any cats, but biologically drugged cats. ZEM-001 is what they're injected with. The virus causes the animal to scream as loud as it can. We tested it on the field, and when the other cat hid, the infected one sat there, meowing quietly. Then, the uninfected one has suddenly come out, not attacking it, remaining docile. Same with the uninfected one. We ran some research and the brain subdues the virus once it goes insane. This makes it hard to quarantine different cats. Yeah. Then we worked on humans. So we put the disposable class, 10, in a simulation where an outbreak released. We released the infected 10 in the same area 10 minutes later. After 54 hours, the last screamer, that's what we named them, had infected them all, driving them insane one by another, infecting the human. The infected human, Yeller, which is not fully mutated, had started whispering in hiding spots, which had caused another Yeller after another to join. Here's a scale. Whisperer, not infected. Talker, infected. Virus is taking over slowly. Slurred speech, coughing, vomiting. Yeller, insane, whispers into small spaces. Screamer, stay away, do not let yourself be seen. Screecher, after a year or so, it will mutate, form wings, the ultimate superhuman, etc. Then, the subjects got in a circle and were connecting into a human spider. It was a confusing barrage of limbs, heads, and blood. The subjects had to be bombed due to an intense breach. The subjects were making a group of corrosive acid. We knew we had to neutralize every subject around ZEM-001's containment chamber. I guess a cat got out though. It infected a human and it went insane. I got out in time, luckily, but there are hundreds of screamers asking for help. I have been asked to stay in a bunker and was asked to guide an I-7-362 RQ-11 Raven for a strafe bomb. I'm ready to press the button. I hope that we're at a safe distance though. I'm ready. Wait. There's something in the distance. It's just Castle Task Force. I think I'm gonna hold off though. Holding off was a bad idea. Castle Task Force 1 was infected. Hammer Squad tried killing them, but they were too late. I am in a bunker in case they decide to nuke the place. I doubt it, honestly. I also have a heavy vehicle for a speedy escape, in case it goes haywire. Here I am, after all of this. I want to go back to my family, to my friends. I am sending a private message to the President of the United States to make a nationwide quarantine. Nobody will go in or out. I am sorry, I tried to stop them. I can't seem to get it out of my head. The birth of my son, my wife, becoming chief scientist on this experiment, the horde, me, closing the door on my colleagues, watching them get dismembered by the screamers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They were out of lemons. Posted by, like I did. I was never too fond of sweet stuff. Marzipan made me sick. Chocolate never made me feel joyous. And the worst flavor I could imagine was the one of sugary pears. Lemons, on the other hand, were to me like a gift sent from heaven. A sour lemon with just a bit of sweetness was all I needed to be happy. There was nothing better than the addition of lemon juice to improve some dish or pastry. Fish with a dash of lemon juice. Lemon zest sprinkled on top of an oven chicken. A cup of hot lemon water with a bit of ginger and honey when you had a cold. Since I was a little child, I would never eat any other ice cream or popsicles but lemon-flavored ones. Cakes, muffins, and pies always taste better with a layer of lemon curd. Or have you ever tried lemon meringue? It's breathtaking. Of course, I'm not talking about the synthetic lemon flavor that you get in some types of candy. They taste like soap and are a massive insult to the fruit. I am talking about the real deal. A fresh and juicy lemon wrapped in its bright yellow natural package, as if it was kissed by the sun herself. We were spoilt in more ways than one. We can only miss all these things because we had the privilege of knowing them. Going to the store at 9 p.m. to buy some fresh fruit isn't a given for everyone. I had never imagined how acquainted we had all gotten to the convenience. They were out of lemons.
Well, that's a bummer.
My boyfriend Nicholas said with a sympathetic undertone to his voice.
What did you get instead?
A can of tuna. His eyes opened wide with excitement.
That's terrific!
He exclaimed. I raised an eyebrow.
Oh, don't give me that look. You know tuna is amazing.
I shrugged. I guess, but what dish are you gonna make with a can of tuna? There were no peppers, no tomatoes, or even bread. I used to be optimistic, an enthusiastic person that saw challenges instead of issues. But that was a long time ago. He grabbed the can of tuna from my hand and placed it on our pantry, next to some kidney beans and half-rotten potatoes. The last few ones we had.
You know, I think it's great that we have a little more to eat, but please don't sneak out on your own anymore. You know I don't like that. If anyone had seen you with this...
I know. I'm sorry. Nicholas was much better at adjusting. He used to be a chef, and no matter what type of food we were stuck with, he would always make the best of it. But even someone as creative as him wasn't able to make this life actually bearable. I had lost my energy, my motivation. I hated everyone and everything. My hate began when they started bunkering any substance that some dumb news channel told them was important. I laughed at them with their dozen packages of toilet paper, wondering what on earth they were planning to do with all of that. Of course, we hoarded a little as well, enough flour and yeast to bake bread. Some frozen vegetables, a few canned goods, non-perishable stuff, soap, vitamins, medicine. Not to prepare for some apocalypse, but to make sure that we would be able to live on decently during a 2-week lockdown. 2 weeks. That's what it was supposed to be. 2 weeks in which you don't have contact with anyone, to minimize the spread so that the hospitals could have some lenience. We all knew the disease couldn't be stopped easily. That was never the goal. The goal was to spread it over time so that there would always be enough people around to help the ones in need. But humans don't think logically in a time like this. People bunkered more food than they could ever consume in a year, especially the ones who didn't need it. A grandmother who lives on her own cannot easily go to the market to buy 20 packs of beans and bottled water, but someone with a big car and time can. They started fighting for a pack of flour or a hand sanitizer. They filled up their basements to the brink, which meant that the ones who didn't do the same found themselves staring at empty shelves every day. No matter how early they woke up or how many stores they visited. All the goods were already placed in the basements of a few people who simply couldn't get enough. But I don't need to tell you that. You were there to witness it. My anger and dread grew even bigger when I realized that buying all those resources didn't even stop them from going outside. Had they stayed home with all the goods they bought so they would be prepared for a lockdown, then maybe things would have worked out. But unfortunately, everyone got bored of the initial thrill quickly. When the clubs started closing, people started throwing private parties. When the restaurants started closing, they would meet and chat at the bakeries. When the schools closed, child care institutions had to be opened for the children of police officers, doctors, and nurses, the perfect breeding places for infections. The regulations coming from the governments came too late and were too vague. There weren't enough places for people to get tested, so people were told that they probably just had a common cold. It spread faster than it ever should have, and eventually we were overwhelmed. There was no way to help everyone, and the few ones who were still healthy and able to work had to try hard not to get infected, especially when the disinfectants started running low. Had the regulations been clear from the beginning, then maybe things wouldn't have gone this far. But eventually we reached the point where both economy and social systems collapsed. There were hardly any professionals left to help. The hospitals had become one of the most dangerous places to be at, and we should be forever grateful for the few volunteers who still tried to see a shimmer of hope and help, among which the ones who worked in the empty stores. There was no way to import any new foods, so you were limited to buying one product, which was usually some canned good. Nicholas was right. Tuna was terrific. I was just being fuzzy. We were incredibly lucky after all. It's just that for some reason I never gave up the hope that I might find a fresh piece of fruit. Maybe even a lemon. I kept dreaming of seeing the yellow piece of happiness, holding it in my hands and inhaling the smell. I had almost forgotten what it was like. What I would have done for just a tiny bit of fresh fruit. Or some vegetable. Even the taste of some bitter Brussels sprout would have made me feel ecstatic.
You know things will get better, right?
Nicholas pulled me out of my train of thought. I noticed I was being more absent lately, and tired. Sure, it made me feel horrible that I had become so pessimistic. He tried as hard as he could to make things slightly better, and the fact that we hadn't killed each other yet, after all those weeks in quarantine, was basically a wonder. He grinned.
Promise not to go outside alone again, and I will give you a surprise.
A surprise? I asked, skeptically.
Yeah, it's nothing too big. I found it in a trash can, and it doesn't look too great, but maybe if we believe in it, it could grow and turn out fine. You know, like our own little project to prove to us that everything will turn out okay in the end. That things will get better.
He scratched his head nervously and then pulled something out of his back pocket. He opened his hand, and in his palm, he held a small lemon seed. Don't Look at Me, written by Alexandria Trace. I feel as though my life has been ripped out of my chest. 2 days ago, the sound of my husband's soft breathing lulled me to sleep. Tonight, he is dead. I don't remember what I did all day yesterday. I can hardly think at all. All I know is I want someone to hold me and to listen to me cry. But the only one I had was him, and he is gone. There is no one left to listen, no one left to understand. It's like I've fallen suddenly into a universe of my own, where the pain is too deep even for tears. I'm suffocating, yet I still breathe, because I can smell him on our bed. Please, let me dream of him. Even a false vision of him in sleep would be better than this void in my chest. Sleep, please. Please, just sleep. I twist and allow my hand to fall over the edge of the bed. For a moment, I remember the foolish fear we all feel when our limbs are exposed to the terrifying darkness beyond the edge of the mattress. A twinge of that fear comes to me now, a feeling other than pain. I adjust my arm to hang lower, allowing my fingertips to dangle just on the edge of the darkness below. The fear is cold, tingling. It's something to fill the void. An hour passes, 2, 3. My mind finally begins to brush the edges of slumber when I feel something touch my fingers. My eyes open, yet I do not move. The fear is ice. I'm certain the sensation was merely my mind slipping into the dreams I so longed for, so I do not move or recoil. Then the gaunt fingers of a hand intertwine with mine. With a startled cry, I jump up on the mattress and flick on the lamp. The room is quiet and still, save for my panting breath. I am clutching the hand I had left exposed to my chest. It takes a few moments to build the resolve to look under the bed. And when I do, there is nothing but dust on the bare wooden floor. Is this what grief does to your mind? I wonder. When I return to bed, I leave the lamp on. The next day, I am hollow once more. My boss is calling, wondering why I'm not at work. I know if I explain to him, say the words, "My husband is dead," I will be granted the time I need, yet I cannot bring myself to answer the phone. I haven't told anyone. I think this is maybe because a part of me still doesn't believe this is real. I am still floating in a fog, as though my pushing reality away will somehow keep him safe, even though it is too late. I wonder if this was how he felt when he learned that his mother died last month, and his father just a week after. Was he floating too? Typically, the death of one's elderly parents can be taken in stride. Most people have warning signs, declining energy, fragile health, to let them prepare themselves for the inevitable. But my husband's mother, then father, died without any such warning, and we were never allowed to see the bodies. Despite the fact that they separated years ago and live in different states, their manner of death was nearly identical. His mother was in her home when she died. The authorities said they believed a mountain lion must have become trapped in her home somehow and killed her when she startled the wild animal upon coming home. 2 weeks later, his father didn't come home from a camping trip. This time, a wild bear was blamed. 1 week ago, my husband went to stay at his father's house to settle some affairs. I was asked to identify his body, but there wasn't enough of his face left for me to see, so I was shown the tattoo on his shoulder instead. Without realizing it, I am now caressing my own ink on my inner wrist. A dragonfly, exactly like the one my husband had. That night, I wonder if I should sleep on the couch. Perhaps laying in the bed we shared for years is what caused me to freak out last night. And all I need is a change of scene. As I lay on the cold leather couch, the ticking of the living room clock chants its maddening mantra. I count them for a while, the maddening ticks. Then my mind wanders to dark places where I should not have allowed it to go. The sheet the coroner used to conceal my husband's body spared me only some of the horror of what lay on that metal table. I wonder if my husband screamed when his ankles were twisted until his joints splintered. I wonder if his eyelids were sliced off before or after his fingers were each split and the flesh was peeled away from the bone. I wonder what the last thing was that crossed his mind before he finally drowned hours later in his own blood when he was left alone on the floor. He had told me after his father died that he sometimes would hear his voice whispering at night. Did he hear his father's voice one last time in those final moments? Did he think of me? I hadn't noticed. My arm is now dangling from the edge of the narrow couch. I am too lost in my own dark thoughts until the fingers wrap gently around my hand again. For a moment, I gasp in fear, but then an anger fills me, and I grab the hand with all of my strength and attempt to pull it up, to see what is tormenting me. But the hand is far stronger than I expect, and slips from my grasp back into the darkness. Strange. It felt so thin and frail. I lean over the couch, but the space beneath it is nowhere near the size that would allow anyone or anything to hide beneath. Am I going mad? I lay down once more, but the feeling of the hand's skin against mine won't leave my thoughts. My husband used to hold my hand as we fell asleep. I remember the softness of his lips when he kissed my wrist. I remember the smell of his hair when he rested his head on my chest. I remember his warmth. The dead leather of the couch is still cold against my skin. Without realizing why I was doing it, I allowed my hand to dangle over the edge once more. An experiment, perhaps. My eyes close and I listen to the clock. After a few minutes, the fingers intertwine with mine again. They are still gaunt like bone, but for some reason, they feel almost warm this time. With a sign, I allow the hand to hold mine. I am already alone. What more can I lose? If this is madness, I don't have the energy to fight it anymore. The bony thumb strokes my wrist as I fall asleep.
Don't look at me, 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 look at me, don't look at, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at, don't look at me, don't look at me.
Everything is dark. The ticking of the clock has become my husband's whispering voice.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I try to call out to him, but I have no voice. I turn, searching in every direction, and still see nothing but emptiness. His voice sounds more desperate, but how could I not look? All I want is to see him next to me one last time. I need the closure of saying goodbye. I don't want to float in this emptiness anymore.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I can't breathe. I need to tell him I need him. I need to tell him I love him. I need to scream. I'm woken up by my own voice screaming his name. I sit up and realize that the sun has risen. My hand is empty. However, my mind feels clearer. I go into the bathroom and evaluate my disheveled hair and the wrinkled shirt I haven't changed out of for days. With a deep breath, as though preparing for a plunge, I splash cold water on my face. Dark circles have formed under my eyes. How long have I been shut away? I'm late when I come into work. A few of my coworkers look up with concern from their desks, but I am confident that I am wearing enough makeup to convince them that I am fine. I am not broken. Everything is normal, and I have a normal life to return to at the end of the day. After telling my boss that I have been sick and apologize for not answering his calls, I am sent back to my desk with a harsh warning. The day goes on forever. I catch myself sneaking a glance under my desk more than once, as though I expect to find the owner of the hand hiding there. I intentionally leave my own hand hanging beside my chair, dangling just out of my sight. I even wiggle my fingers expectantly. Nothing happens. The day drags. After the end of my shift, I rush home and switch off all the lights before diving into bed. Is this madness? It must be. And yet the hand is the only thing keeping me from feeling completely alone. Closing my eyes, I dangle my hand over the dark space under the bed. Within a minute, the hand wraps its fingers into mine. I smile and hum my husband's favorite song that I used to sing to him when he wasn't feeling well. My heart is warm again. As the sun slips from the sky, I fall asleep without effort.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
The darkness has returned. The cold. My husband's voice. If only I can find it, I will find warmth again.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
His voice becomes frantic as I continue to reach out, searching for him. Don't do this to me, I want to say. Don't leave me without holding me one last time. The dream continues to torment me through the night, and the night after that, and the one after that. It's been weeks now, and every night I reach out for the hand beneath my bed. Every night it brings me the comfort and allows me to sleep. Every night my husband's voice haunts me, begging me not to look at him. I don't understand. I can think of nothing else. My boss is threatening to fire me, but I don't even care. My husband, I can hear him, but I never find him. The hand brings his voice to me, and every night he feels closer and closer. He's right in front of me. I'm nearly there. My coworkers whisper and cast strange glances at me throughout the day. Why do I bother coming here again? I was never friends with any of these people. It's all such a waste of time. All I want is to go home and hold the hand again. All I want is to hear my husband's voice, pull him from the torment of his death and back into my arms. Safe. Together. It wasn't fair what happened. It makes no sense. No one makes sense anymore. Tonight's the night. I know I can find him this time. It's like his lips are brushing my ear in my sleep, pleading. But that doesn't matter. What matters is I've almost found him. Everything will be okay. I know he's scared, but I will be there for him. I won't leave him alone in that darkness. With my eyes dutifully closed, I thrust my hand purposefully beyond the edge of the bed. The bony fingers, slow and gentle as always, find mine and wrap lovingly into our nightly embrace. I relax, summoning slumber. The darkness consumes me. I can hear him. He is right in front of me, screaming.
Don't look at me! Don't look at me! Don't look at me! Don't look at me!
The darkness. Why is the darkness in my way? Why can't I breathe? What is holding me down, pinned to the bed? The darkness. My eyes, they're closed. Of course, I'm such an idiot. All I need to do is open my eyes. I am in my bedroom. I am lying on my back. I am looking at the thing that is holding me down. Its eyes are wide, staring at me because there is no skin left on the face. Its arms and legs are twisted at bizarre, agonizing angles. Fingers with the flesh peeled back, exposing bone, are intertwined with my own, holding me down as it watches me sleep. Its mouth opens as though to scream, and before its teeth sink into the flesh of my face, I see the tattoo on its shoulder. I shouldn't have looked at him. Thank you to all the Reddit authors for letting me read their stories. All of the stories can be found down below in the order that I read them in. If you really liked a story, make sure to go and upvote it on r/nosleep. I hope these stories made your quarantine a little less lonely. Make sure to like this video if you liked the art, and to subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching, art friends. Until the next video. Bye.